Everybody ready? Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call our McLeod County Board of Commissioners meeting to order tonight on December 7th. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome again. We'll begin our meeting tonight with the consideration of agenda items. Is there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda?
I have no changes, Mr. Chair.
Move to accept agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmaltz to approve today's agenda items. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Luthens to approve tonight's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Sheriff's Office will be the first up. We have representation from the Sheriff's Office here.
Mr. Chair, I'm presenting
You'll
to
take
the
that?
Sheriff's
Okay.
Office today. Item A, consider approving an off-highway vehicle safety grant with the state of Minnesota for 2024 and 2025. These funds would be utilized for holding safety training education programs for local participants, equipment, and enforcement activities. Funding for the 2024 fiscal year is $4,543, and funding for 2025 fiscal year is $4,543. This is our first time applying for this grant. Some of our Sheriff's Office staff, so the licensed deputies, provide training with ATVs, and my son attended actually last year at the Lester Prairie Sportsman's Club, so if you were not familiar with that, one of our deputies, Daryl Couturier, he actually reaches out and makes sure that the kids in the communities in McLeod County get to sign up for that, and does a very good job of utilizing the other staff as well to help out.
Okay, any questions or action items on that?
There is a vote for that.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger, we'll call it, to consider approving the off-highway vehicle safety grant program with the state of Minnesota for 2024 and 2025. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up will be Health and Human Services, Barrett Sports.
Hi, Barrett.
Don't know if it's on. Might not be on.
It's a button right here.
How's that? Better?
There you go.
Yep.
All right, thank you. I have 3 items for you this afternoon. The first is to consider approving the contract for services with Donna England to provide support services to children and families at a rate of $28.98 per hour, not to exceed 300 hours, which would be equivalent to $8,695 for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, with funds from the individual and family social services budget. Services that may be provided include parenting assistance, money management, meal planning, and grocery shopping, and learning appropriate social skills and independent living skills. This is a 3% increase from our current 2023 contract.
I'll move request, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Schmaltz, second by Luthens to consider approving a contract for services with Donna England to provide support services at a rate of $28.98 per hour, not to exceed 300 hours. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider approving the contract for services with Terry Niemeyer, Nest LLC, to provide support services to children and families at a rate of $49.18 per hour, not to exceed 500 hours, or the equivalent of $24,590 for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, with funds from the Individual and Family Services budget. Services that may be provided include parenting assistant, money management, meal planning, grocery shopping, learning appropriate social skills and independent living skills. This is a 3% increase from the current 2023 contract.
Question,
Yes.
Go ahead.
what's the difference between the two, last one and this one?
Pretty much the same services. One is a little bit more experienced and I believe has a more extensive license.
Doing the same care, the same work, though.
Most of it, yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Move request, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Schmalz, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Luthens to consider approving contract with Terry Niemeyer to provide support services at a rate of $49.18 per hour, not to exceed 500 hours. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item
Thank
C.
you. My last item is to consider approving the contract for services with Painted Horse Ranch LLC out of Broughton, Minnesota, to provide court-ordered supervised visitation, travel, and court appearances for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, at a rate of $50 per hour and with mileage billed at the IRS allowable rate only when transporting a client. So they do not charge mileage when they are going to and from the visitation, only if they're transporting a client. With funds from the Individual and Family Services budget, this rate increase is a rate increase, from $45 per hour, which is in the current 2023 contract.
Mr. Chair, move to approve.
Motion by Nagel, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is by Nagel, second is by Kruger to consider approving a contract of services with Painted Horse Ranch at a rate of $50 per hour. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Barrett, can I ask, is it, you have a budgeted amount, is it used up? Do you generally finish with a positive balance in past history? How do we use the contract?
That is a great question. I want to just see if I have some notes before. We either stay slightly under or meet our budgeted amount, then we base that amount for the following year on kind of what we've spent the year prior. So we do stay either a little under or at our budgeted amount, which would be in the budget for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
maybe just a comment. I remember when we started this and it was new, if my memory serves me right, but I've heard nothing but good. It must work pretty well for the people that use it.
We are very fortunate to have Painted Horse Ranch do those court-ordered supervised visits. There aren't many people that do it. It's hard work. It's in the evenings. It's when families are available to have those supervised visits. Thankfully, we've been able to utilize the Environmental Services Building, our visitation center there, which Painted Horse appreciates, and so do we. So we're very lucky to have them.
And when it's court-ordered, it's mandated.
When it's
Yeah.
court-ordered, yep.
Thank you.
We've got to do it, yep.
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up will be Public Works. Andrew.
Good evening. First up on the list this evening is the updated snow and ice policy. Go to the next slide, please, Stefan. So what this policy does is it provides clear and consistent guidelines to not only the public, but also our snowplow drivers to ensure consistent practices during snow and ice removal times. McLeod County, as you know, maintains about 400 miles of county highways. About 100 miles of those are gravel. We clear those roads of snow and ice with 14 units on 14 dedicated routes. When we dispatch our snowplows, this policy states that we will dispatch after snowfall and/or winds have stopped, except in a case of an emergency or conditions allow reasonable accomplishments, which happens about 95% of the time. We typically start our snow and ice removal operations on paved roads when we have about 1 to 2 inches of accumulation, and on gravel roads when we have 3+ inches. We also do our ice control when conditions seriously affect travel. So we're not out there every time there's a little frost, things get a little slippery. It's just not feasible to do that. We do utilize material management system, our material decision system, which assists us in our decision making on when to plow, what to plow, and how to go about that. That system utilizes weather forecasts and on-road temperature sensors, weather stations, all that, plugs it all in, and kind of uses that information to predict what the weather or what the road conditions are going to be and when we will be able to make progress. Next.
Question?
Go ahead.
Andrew, how do you decide on these gravel roads? Most of the time, that first time you plow, it's all gravel, soft, and ends up in a ditch.
Yep, we do our best to stay off of them as much as possible until they freeze hard. That can be a very challenging task at times, especially early in the winter. At that point, we go out there when we need to make things passable, and we try to keep the plows up, raise them up, and not plow off all the gravel.
Good, thank you.
Our operations, snow and ice operations, occur in 4 phases. Number 1 is to make the roads passable. Second phase is to widen lanes to the edge of shoulders and then apply chemicals or chemical abrasive mixtures. That would be your salt and your salt and sand. The 4th phase would be cleanup. That's widen the shoulders, get the intersections cleaned up, and continue applying abrasives and chemicals. And then the 4th phase is kind of non-storm days. After all the cleanup is done, that's going out patrolling for ice, frost issues, and then removing and pushing back snowbanks and drifts in areas that are prone to that. Our normal hours of operation. Hours of operation on weekdays, we are on the road 4 a.m. That means the crews are usually getting the phone call somewhere between 2:30 and 3 to be on site and start doing pre-trips and loading trucks. This is a change from the previous policy. Our previous policy was 3:30 a.m., which was really what we are doing today with staff reporting at 3:30 a.m. And usually they're on the road at 4 a.m. So that's why we made that change. Weekends and holidays, we do have a reduced level of service. That is because traffic is generally lighter on those days, and just in general, we try to give our staff a little bit of time off when we can. We do still try to get out there at 6 a.m. On those days and get everything cleaned up. We will continue operations until service levels have been reached, storm's been done, everything's cleaned up. We don't have any issues out there, or until our operating duty shifts have maxed out. Our duty shifts are a maximum of 14 hours a day. that time range is for safety of everybody out there. If you're out there plowing snow for 14 hours with limited visibility, it's very mentally fatiguing. And then beyond that, typically by the time that 14 hours has reached, the sun has gone down, and a lot of times we run into visibility issues, which makes it not safe for our snowplow drivers nor the traveling public. We'll also halt operations when conditions are too hazardous, no visibility, too cold, where our trucks are starting to freeze up, we're getting gelling issues, and there's a stranding hazard. Or when reasonable accomplishments can't be made. That would be in the situation where the snow's coming down so hard, so fast, and the wind's blowing so bad, make a pass down the road, turn around, and it doesn't even look like you've done anything. We're just burning diesel fuel at that point. We start plowing by priority routes, so we have all of our roads are prioritized. The first routes that get are the major county highways. These carry heavy traffic volumes, connect cities, state highways, and neighboring counties, and our intra-county corridors. These are always our paved roads. Second priority is our county routes that provide rural access to cities and state highways. These are usually paved, but could be gravel. Third is medium county roads that serve as mail and/or school bus routes and provide access for numerous rural residents. These are also usually paved, but may also be gravel. And then finally is our low volume county roads that may serve as mail or school bus routes, but serve few rural residents. These are usually gravel. Emergency situations. We've had a couple of these pop up over the years. All emergency situations are coordinated through the sheriff's office. We do not dispatch plows from regular routes or call them in for extra duty unless there's a fire, medical, or law enforcement emergency. In the situation where we have no travel advisories issued, those are issued by the State Patrol and/or Sheriff's Office. Those we will pass on through the local radio stations, CARP and KDUZ. And the Sheriff's Office also is contacted when we will pull the plows. So in the no travel advisory situations, radio stations, media is alerted, and then we contact the Sheriff's Office, let them know that we are pulling plows, and then we pull the plows. Next. Stranded motorists. This policy states that our plow operators may assist stranded motorists by contacting local law enforcement and/or emergency personnel. Plow operators will not remove a stuck vehicle unless they are directed to do so by law enforcement. Poses immediate danger to the traveling public. This would be in a situation where they're on just over the top of the hill, spun out sideways in the middle of the road, and if somebody comes over that hill, they're never going to see them, and they're going to crash in. It's going to make a big accident. And then the third situation is where it hinders snow removal operations, where the road is completely blocked, and the only way to get through is to move that vehicle. Personal property. The county is not liable for damage caused by snow flying off the plow to mailboxes, fences, or other personal property. We only take care of those items that are damaged by actual contact with snowplow equipment. Typically, that's the wing on the snowplow. And then residential snow plowing, it is unlawful for residents to obstruct any highway or deposit snow or ice on there. That is State Statute 160.2715. So what I'm looking for here is for the board to consider approving the updated snow and ice policy.
Okay, any questions, anyone?
Andrew, just before going into that, is there, what's the status on our part-time drivers? I mean, they seem to be a key to keeping the fatigue down and busy. How are we doing there?
Yep. So we are on one shift. We're staffed up for one shift of snowplow operators. Like I said, we have 14 units, 14 routes. This year, we are fully staffed for the first time in quite a while coming into the winter. We do have a couple of part-time on-call drivers that are mainly used, will be used this year for vacation fill-ins, sick fill-in, that type of thing. They are very critical for us to maintain a decent level of service.
Okay, any other questions, anyone?
Andrew, if the state plows are out on Highway 7, does that mean county plows might be out or not?
Nope. So the state of Minnesota, they run 24-hour shifts
Yep.
during snow events. They run an A and a B shift, so they're running two 12-hour shifts all night long. So typically, if it's before 4 a.m. or after 6, 7 p.m., we probably will not be out unless it's an emergency situation.
Okay, yeah, I see them out there all the time, all night long. Thank you.
Without taking up much time, what's our policy now on the mailboxes? Not about the hitting part, but now if we put in our mailboxes, that's helped. Just in my 8-9 years, it's helped a great deal on phone calls on mailboxes. Do you want to run through that policy real quick, or is it easy?
I don't have the actual
Okay.
policy language in front of me, but essentially, when we do road construction projects, we will go through and replace mailbox supports and put in swing-away mailboxes, and then we encourage all residents as they put their mailboxes up, replace their old ones or install new ones, to install a swing-away mailbox.
I'll make a motion to approve the snow and ice policy.
Second.
A motion by Kruger, second by Nagel to approve the updated snow and ice policy. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And Andrew, thanks for reviewing the policy. I mean, I guess we hit a little bit of a speed bump last year. We needed some clarification on a few things. And I think it helps us to be fully transparent with what the policy states. And this is a step forward to carry out the wishes and the policy itself. So appreciate your help in putting the policy together. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
So the next item on the agenda is the Glencoe jurisdictional changes. If you think back, the board, we've done a few work sessions in the past on this. Last year, a joint work session with the city of Glencoe, and we're finally to the point here to act on this. So the city and county completed a study back in the early 2000s looking at the road network and transportation system in the city of Glencoe, and that was just re-looked at again with Glencoe's comprehensive plan and reaffirmed. The focus on these changes is the functional classification of the roads and their primary uses. So where is the local traffic versus regional traffic going, and what are the traffic levels on these roads? Next. So what happens is these proposed changes enhance the funding opportunities for both the city and the county. I should step back a little bit and describe these changes a little more. These changes are McLeod County would take over 11th Street from the west city limits of Glencoe to Armstrong Avenue, and then Armstrong Avenue from 11th Street to Trunk Highway 22. as well as 18th Street from Ford Avenue to Hennepin Avenue. In turn, McLeod County would give Ford Avenue to the city of Glencoe. These changes allow for state aid mileage to be better utilized, hence the enhanced funding opportunities. Reconstruction costs of all these roads and responsibilities do not change under this agreement. Everybody will still be responsible for their road. And maintenance responsibilities do not appreciably change. It's pretty darn close to the same mileage, maybe a couple 100 feet difference when it's all said and done. And all of these roads will stay truck routes as required by state aid. So this is a map of the changes, the route changes. The green line up on top is 18th Street. That is currently a municipal state aid city street, Glencoe City Street. That will be transferred to McLeod County, and we will designate that as a county state aid highway. Ford Avenue is currently a county state aid highway. We will transfer that to the city of Glencoe, and they will designate that as a municipal state aid city street. Hennepin Avenue will stay under the control of McLeod County, but we will actually designate that as the county state aid highway. And then 11th Street from Armstrong to the west city limits will be transferred from the city of Glencoe to McLeod County. And then we will turn that into a county state aid highway, as well as the short stretch of Armstrong from 11th Street to Trunk Highway 22. And that really just makes the system continuity work for the state aid purposes. So you can go to the next one. Yep. You can shut that off. So this agreement before you in the board packet went to the city of Glencoe this last week. The city of Glencoe offered an amendment to this agreement and passed an amendment to this agreement to state that the county and city will not take any affirmative steps to impede truck traffic or implements of husbandry on Ford Avenue or 18th Street.
You okay with that?
Yes, it's really just another piece to it. Those routes are going to be state aid routes, either municipal state aids or county state aid highways, which are required to be built to a certain design standard that would require the allowance of trucks.
As long as you're okay with it. The exact verbiage, when will we be able to see that verbiage?
Be able to see that after this was relatively fresh. We're still working on the exact verbiage, but we've got some preliminary verbiage of the county and city represent warrant and covenant that it will not take any affirmative steps to impede truck traffic and implements of husbandry.
Right, and I was involved in some of the talks, and as long as that verbiage is in there, I'm all right with this transfer.
So with that, I would ask the board to consider approving this jurisdictional transfer agreement with that added verbiage.
With the amendment.
I'm hesitant. I'm gonna make the motion to accept it, but I'm trusting you guys, our attorney and you to have that verbiage and then have it sent over to the city, whatever. I'm absolutely good with that, so I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, to consider approving the jurisdictional transfer agreement with the city of Glencoe for routes in the city of Glencoe, as well as the amendment that was mentioned this evening. Is there any further discussion?
Question?
Go ahead.
Are the trucks already, is the roads already good enough for trucks to go on?
Yep, they're already, the roads are already truck routes, all of them.
So they're routed for what, 8 ton, 10 ton?
During, outside of spring load restrictions, they're all 10-ton. Ford Avenue currently, because of the condition it's in, we do post that down during spring with load restrictions.
Okay,
Good question, Commissioner Luthens, but we should just clarify that there's no, by doing this, there's no added cost to the city or the county to make the roads any different. They already will be made to that, to that standard anyway. So
Correct.
it's just to make sure that as the amendment states, that trucks and vehicles of husbandry, or what the proper word for machinery, can get up through there. That's fine. There's there's not extra costs involved here.
Yes, you are correct.
And the mileage is neutral, right? I read that correctly.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, any further discussion on the agreement and its addition? Okay, then we will proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Moving on to Commissioner calendars. Mr. Nagel, you ready?
No, but I'll go. Let's see, just real quick. Hasn't been terribly hectic, some phone calls about admittedly True County and quite a bit of work on that. Stopped in at the fairgrounds to take a look at the progress of that. Nice work on the project. Don't get up to the mic, but you're gonna do the final lift for the asphalt in the spring, correct? Okay, so we'll finish that up along with the building projects. And then I would just add, I was at the AMC conference this week and attended some sessions.
Okay, I'll go into a little bit of a topic here. First one on my list would be 1126, One Watershed, One Plan hearing for the South Fork of the Crow River. That is a combined effort between Renville, Meeker, Wright, McLeod, and Carver County. And after about a 1.5 year long process, this was the hearing that was required to then send this on for review, so we can basically find a way to get state funds out of clean water through voluntary projects to landowners throughout that watershed district. The meeting had a bit of a rocky start. We had a little bit of a problem with some, I guess what I would call some deliberately placed misinformation as to what that was about. And you know, and there was some comments that you know, people didn't know about it until the day before or that morning or that afternoon. So I just want to go through the list of the efforts that were put together by those 5 counties to make sure over the past 1.5 years that everything that could be done to get public comment and you know, to gather ideas, to gather opinions. So when we got to that point, we had a very fair set of data and input to work with. So again, in a 1.5 year time, various Facebook posts, just in McLeod County, various Facebook posts on both McLeod County's webpage and the Soil and Water Conservation District, as well as other planning partners' social media platforms. Everything, minutes, meeting times were posted on the McLeod County website. Conversations with local commodity groups such as corn and soybean producers boards continuously happen. Online survey was available for nearly a month to allow those who could not attend the meeting to a chance to submit input and links to the flyer were there. Flyers were hung at implement dealerships throughout the entire region, bait shops, gas stations, grocery stores. We at the input sessions, we even had food available to try and bring more people in there. There were 90 radio broadcasts to advertise the kickoff meeting, which started the public input. There were 30 ads on KGLB, 30 ads on KDUZ, and 30 on KARP. Newspaper advertisements for that public kickoff were in the Hutchinson Leader, McLeod County Chronicle, Herald Journal, Renville County Register, West Central Tribune, and the Waconia Patriot. And doors were open at all times throughout the Soil and Water Conservation Districts and county boards to try and continue to gather information. There was one individual that thought we should do direct mailers. There's over 1,280 square miles of land in this watershed district, so to do a direct mailer is quite quite complicated. There's nearly 87,000 people affected here. So, and mailers, I mean, we've here for various meetings send out mailers with quite limited success, even when in our recycling program during the time where we decided to discontinue the rural bin program. We sent out just short of 4,000 direct mailers, and we still run into people that have not heard, you know, or are unsure. So the direct mailer is not always the greatest success rate either, but in the end, we were able to pass the plan. But it's just to recognize the efforts that are continuously done to try and grab people's attention, to get them to bring input forward and to show up at a meeting. And you know, we're never going to beat deliberately placed misinformation. No matter how much money we spend or how much time we put into it, we're never going to beat that. But the efforts that are put forth here to become as transparent as possible, to work with the press, to try and get out there on the social media, the new platforms, I think are done to an excellent rating, in my opinion. And so just wanted to bring some of that stuff up. On the 30th, we did have a budget meeting. TNT prep, I did attend AMC, attended workshops on redetermination of benefits, youth support, and some programs for helping them kind of get back on the right path, and also building county workforce. And then we're here today. Go ahead.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chair. I also had budget meetings, and I worked, I did not go to AMC this year, but I had some conflicting meetings, and I did work on this one watershed, one plan. I was a bit blindsided, and I should have been there. I'm actually on the policy committee, and I guess what I want to make clear is I've been working with this for over 10 years, with one watersheds, one plan, and I don't know where the misinformation came from, and I didn't know it was going to be that bad, or I probably had the most experience of the one watershed, one plans, and should have been there. But having said that, I mean, I virtually have 2 stacks of books of probably this high. They're redundant because I'm on one watershed, one plan in the North Fork, and I'm on the lower Minnesota. I had some of the same questions that were addressed to the board, and singling out individuals that was totally uncalled for, because these are things that we are mandated to do, and we're going through it at the best way we can. I had some of the same questions 10 years ago, and probably 7 years ago, and 6 years ago, and I ask them as I go along. However, the point that was made that there was no information about this is not true, or I don't want to call it laziness. It's misinformed, because Google it. I mean, it's all there. You can go stop at our SWCDs in whatever county you're in. And when the South Fork came, I'm not going to beat this too far to death, but when it came, I'm already on 2 one watersheds, one plan, and I thought the board that was elected and appointed for this one was outstanding. We had Renville and McLeod County commissioners appointed. I didn't need to be on 3, and it wouldn't have made any difference if I was there or not. But the point is, these things are pretty well supervised by Bowser. And people have heard me say more than once, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. There's plenty of things there that I don't always agree with, but stay at the table. I go to Buffalo Creek Watershed. We've had the discussion there. They serve on the same region or same watershed. And so does our SWCD. And the input needs to come all the time. I mean, Commissioner Wright said that they're looking for volunteers. It takes, over the years, there's been projects done with $5,000, $2,000, $10,000, and we got some small projects done, but with the regulations coming from Clean Water and the funds coming from Legacy and larger grants, this is where One Watershed came to be, to design bigger projects, whether it be for water storage or cleaning up, or, for clean water projects, drainage or lakes. So you could put in a bigger project and get something done. But again, I'm not gonna beat that to death, but the policies have been in place. They're basically the same across the whole state. When I got started with it, there was two or three different watersheds starting this, and again, I had the same questions. They've been answered, and they've been gone through, and, like it or not, this is the program we've got to deal with, and it's all in what we're gonna make out of it. So I would hope that the people that scrutinize it put a little work involved and try to make it better. I don't know how else to say it. I didn't write up a speech on it, but, again, it gets a little bit nerve-wracking, and I'm gonna be the first to admit that I'm getting short with some of the explanations. I've got more calls on, and more people seeing me on this, that I'm totally amazed that, until it directly interferes or somebody directly says something, that these show up. And, again, it'll be what we make out of it. And as far as the boards themselves, they're all over the place on comments. We've got good boards. We've got good policy committees. In the two that I'm involved in, when we go on through them, and I think Commissioner Wright had to do the same thing, we spend hours back and forth setting the priority on what are we gonna prioritize. Each watershed's a little different. They might have recreational lakes, they might have ag, they might have sloughs, they might have rivers running through them. They're all different. So again, it's what you make out of them. That's all I've got for today, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger, for your report, and I want to personally thank you for the work that you do with our watersheds and the experience that you bring to the table in these discussions. Truthfully, I wouldn't know where to start, so thank you to you. Thank you to Commissioner Wright for leading our watershed discussions as we try to work our way through the difficult decisions. After our last board meeting, we had a workshop here at the Government Center on the 21st of November. 22nd, I took a call from a parcel owner on CD 11 on some work that was done along that ditch system. And the following week, on November 29th, I had an AMC government policy meeting that I attended by Zoom. AMC government policy is one of my committee assignments, and we kind of look at trying to filter and prioritize issues that we think are going to be important for AMC to be lobbying for in the next legislative session this winter. So that's the purpose of those meetings. On the 30th, I took another call from a parcel owner on CD 10. Sunday the 3rd, I headed down to Minneapolis for our AMC conference. I started the conference with a meeting at 5 in the evening for agricultural, rural development, and I followed that up with Minnesota rural counties. And I won't specify all the attended meetings I did, but I can tell you it was a busy schedule, and I really enjoyed the conference. I enjoyed the facility. I thought it was well run, and I look forward to participating again. I want to highlight the opening session that occurred Monday morning. Governor Walz did address the group, but before Governor Walz addressed the group, our own HR Director, Hannah, opened the session with singing the national anthem, and I will tell you that it was a fine job, a professional job, and I can't say enough about what Hannah did. I think I'm thinking there was maybe 700 people in attendance, and I hope that they all took some value from the rendition that Hannah did doing the national anthem. It was fantastic. I also want to say, most of the meetings pertain to, me gaining knowledge as being a commissioner. But then there's also some that pertain to me personally, and one of those was a workshop that was conducted about drawing Social Security, or when to start drawing Social Security. And I want to tell the public and the staff, maybe I had a personal reason to be there, but when I got in there, I saw, again, our finance director, Colleen, and our human resources director, Hannah, there in that workshop as well. And I'm thinking, what are they doing here? These are both two young ladies. What do they want to know? What do they want to know about drawing Social Security? But then I says, they're doing this to help in their job performance and help the employees of McLeod County. They have the knowledge to answer some of the easy questions, but also the knowledge on where to direct these people if they come up with these questions pertaining to retirement. So I was kind of excited when I saw that they were there. I really appreciate that. The conference ran till Wednesday with the closing session, finishing up at about 11:30. But I wasn't done. I had to drive to St. Paul for a shack meeting after the conference ended. Our shack meeting ran from 12:30 till 4:30 in the afternoon. So I was a little fatigued getting home. So glad to make it home, glad to participate, and happy to be serving in that capacity. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Luthens?
Thank you, and thank you for all the hard work you're doing. I am still on medical leave, getting better. I did not attend the conference. I was going to, but I canceled out. So we hope things get better.
Glad to have you back. Anything from the attorney's office at all?
I would just note that the county attorney is at an annual County Attorneys Association conference, and that Aaron Jordan, an assistant in the county attorney's office, is the recipient at that conference of a Distinguished Service Award. So that's the update from the county attorney's office.
Okay. Turning it over to administration.
I have no updates, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Item A. It is hard to hear today, just so you know, so if you guys aren't close to your microphone, or if you turn your head while you're talking, can't hear. Item A, consider adopting Resolution 23-CB-54, setting the 2024 McLeod County Commissioner salary, per diem, and mileage reimbursement rates. My recommendation to the county board for the commissioner salary for 2024 would be a $40,000 annual salary. And for the per diem and mileage reimbursement rates to maintain the same as 2023, which would be $75 for a half eligible day and $125 for a full eligible day. And then the mileage reimbursement rate to maintain at the federal reimbursement rate.
Questions, anyone? This will be resolution 23-CB-54, which will set the salary, which will set the mileage and the per diem.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 23CB54.
Second it.
We have a motion by Kruger, a second by Luthens to consider adopting the resolution 23-CB-54, setting the McLeod County Commissioner salary at $40,000, the per diem at $75 for half day, $125 for full day, and the mileage at the IRS rate. Are there any further questions or comments on the motion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
As far as the piece about compensation, I said last year that I was satisfied with what I was receiving, and I'm still going to say that my position hasn't changed. I'm satisfied with the compensation we've received, and I'll be voting against the motion. I do agree with leaving the per diems and the mileage at the same level, but being we've combined them into to one motion, like I said, it will kind of make me vote against it, and I gave my reasoning why.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments to the motion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I am in favor of the increase. There was a time I could have argued it either way, but the costs of everything are going up, and I don't know about using the word satisfied. I didn't run for this office for the wages, but having said that, I've probably coming into the sunset of being a commissioner, and I don't foresee people stepping up for this job and going out and trying to find people that are interested, or having carefully used word qualified people to step forward. I don't even know if we can do it at 40,000. I mean, I don't like the idea of, in the past, of, you know, basically retired, including myself, retired people or people of means, only ones able to run for this job. So for those reasons, I have been in favor of this. I've somewhat changed my position over the years, but I look what's happening, just as an addition of what's happening, whether it's our staff or across the state, in whatever you want to go through on what wages are doing. I mean, I don't even want to compare them, because it's not fair to compare them, but again, just driving to meetings, the wear and tear on vehicles, again, it is what it is, but I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I guess I'm just gonna go right to roll call vote on this. So Nagel?
Aye.
I would yes. Kruger?
Aye.
Schmalz?
No?
Luthens?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes with 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, consider adopting Resolution 23-CB-55, setting the 2024 McLeod County Committee member per diem and mileage reimbursement rates with no change from the 2023 per diem and mileage reimbursement rates. Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to adopt resolution 23CB55 for our schedule of per diem payments and expense allowances for citizen committee members, setting the half day at 75, full day at 125, and using the IRS rate for mileage allowance. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C is a summary of an elected officials report. And I'm going to hand this out to our commissioners, and then it will be added to the county board packet online by our assistant Stefan, because it's long, and I don't think that you want to listen to me read this long. So some areas that I went over with our elected officials, however, were just some suggested feedback topic areas. We obviously work together on a very consistent basis, and in these summaries, I've included Connie Kurtzwig, our auditor treasurer, Sheriff Tim Langenfeld, and our county attorney, Ryan Hansch. Our attorney and our sheriff can't be here tonight, so that's why we're doing this a little different than past years, because we would not have all three officials at the same meeting. But some areas we discussed were public service, delegation of tasks, empowerment of staff, leadership of the organization and community, effectiveness and role, and statutory obligations, along with many others. So I will just give a very brief summary. Connie and I met, and of course, the main topic of our conversation was the elections. She has 3 in 2024. There's been a lot of staff changes and updating the people who needed training because they've been new on staff. They conducted their first forfeiture sale online, and that was a success, so that's great. She complimented the work of Sue Schultz, our assessor, with Tyler Technologies, the new software that they have implemented, and also the work of the Employee Relations Department. Their representative is Andrea Matheny, and she works with Hannah and Donna, and thank you. I guess they're doing awesome, so that's always really good to hear. Moving on to County Attorney Ryan Hanch, of course, it being not just his first year as an elected official here, but his first year at McLeod County, and then having almost a complete turnover of his staff. It's been a very, very busy year. Ryan did wonderful. He kept a positive attitude throughout, and I think that we've all thoroughly enjoyed having him on our team and working with him. We, of course, miss Mike too, but Ryan is a little nicer. No, it's been great, and Mike has helped us out throughout the year as well, and Ryan has really grown together with everybody at McLeod County, and his office is doing a wonderful job. He did great staffing it, and we'll be talking shortly about some wages in that department that have been impacted significantly recently. They added their victim services coordinator position. He'll go over his annual presentation in April on Student Government Day, and that will be the same day that Sheriff Langenfeld will go over his annual presentation. He encourages feedback from all of you, county board, county staff, the public, bring things as they come up, and the office has continued to provide steady support for criminal prosecution and to maintain public safety. He did list off some significant cases that have had effective prosecution to share, and that would be a recent murder case resulting in a sentence of 117 months in prison, conviction for possession of pornographic material with 102 months imprisonment, a drive-by shooting case resulting in a 54-month prison sentence, and a guilty verdict at a recent trial with pending sentencing for first-degree criminal sexual conduct. And that is unfortunately with a child victim, and presume that it will exceed 144 months in prison. If anyone wants to see a copy of this, I will lay it up here. And then I'll end with Sheriff Langenfeld. We didn't have our formal meeting yet, but we speak, I would say, every day at work, and he's had a very busy 2023 as well. Thank you to the sheriff and the chief deputy. They've worked diligently with their supervisory staff and with human resources throughout the past year to continue staffing the law enforcement units, not just with new hires, but also with turnover and attrition. We had a tragic loss in McLeod County in August. We said goodbye to Deputy Larry Monsky. And in attending his services, I think we were all left a bit speechless. I can't talk tonight, I apologize. At the outstanding turnout, there was law enforcement agencies and security agencies there from throughout the state, because Deputy Monsky had also worked in mall security for a long time, and he had a very good show of support. The department staff handles crisis each day, and the sheriff also, during our discussion, shared a reminder that his team did have the unfortunate opportunity to provide great support to each other twice this past year because of officer-involved shootings. We're especially grateful that all the employees recovered quickly from the physical impacts experienced, but of course, we never know what the mental experiences are of the people who go through that. So he will give you his annual report, I believe, in April, and we thank him and the other elected officials for their leadership and support to our county. That's all I have for that. Okay. I'll move on to item D, if that's okay, unless anyone had anything to add. Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Item D asks for you to consider setting the 2024 salary for our elected McLeod County Auditor Treasurer. Asking for you to set the elected official salary for the Auditor Treasurer at $115,363 for 2024.
I will read the motion with the state statute to follow that recommendation. The motion would be to set the 2024 salary pursuant to Minnesota State Statute 384.151 for the auditor treasurer at $115,363, based on the responsibilities and duties of the office and taking into account the experience, qualifications, and performance of the incumbent. That would be the motion that is prepared for tonight.
I'll move on that motion.
The motion by Nagel, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Schmalz. I won't read it again, but the dollar amount will be $115,363 for the auditor treasurer. Any further discussion?
The only thing I'd like to make clear, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
is that by statute, I believe it's statute, we don't use a percentage, we have to use we use the dollar number, so just so that's clarified. Otherwise, I'm in favor of the motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I just want to note that you can use a percentage. However, you cannot just do a straight percentage across elected officials. The statute states that you need to consider them separately. So that's why they're different items.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item E, consider setting the 2024 salary for the elected McLeod County Sheriff at an amount of $135,962.
The motion that has been prepared for tonight would be to set the 2024 salary pursuant to Minnesota State Statute 387.20 for the sheriff at $135,962, based upon the responsibilities and duties of the office and taking into account the experience, qualifications, and performance of the incumbent.
So moved.
Motion by Nagel, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Kruger. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, consider setting the 2024 salary for the elected McLeod County Attorney. And I would like to just give a short explanation because this is quite a change from the 2023 salary. Commissioner Kruger, I had discussed prior to the meeting, he will go over a little bit of the impacting information. But just to follow here, I'm going to go ahead with, the salary would be, that I'm asking for $195,000 for a McLeod County Attorney for 2024.
Okay, so the motion that is prepared for tonight would be to set the 2024 salary pursuant to Minnesota State Statute 388.18 for the county attorney at $195,000, based on the responsibilities and duties of office and taking into account the experience, qualifications, and performance of the incumbent.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
Obviously, this is a shocker. I'm sure it's gonna be, was shocking to me, because of, the short notice, in my words, of having to do this. And, this was triggered, by the public defender, off the state of Minnesota, the public defenders' salaries. I mean, I can't and won't get into the whole staff of our county attorneys, but he's been working hard on staffing the county attorney's office, and I think he's done a great job for McLeod County. However, the public defender, how would I phrase it? They've put out what they're paying for their public defenders. Can I actually give the disparities?
Would you like me to go over some of that part?
It'd probably be smoother if
Okay.
you would.
You
'cause
have
it-
my report, though. I just need it back, but I'd be happy to. So, I just.
have a comment
yeah,
after
when
you
you're
do
ready.
that.
Go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead, you
yours.
finish that and then
Okay.
I'll comment.
Well, in support of what Commissioner Kruger is sharing, I just want to make sure that the situation is understood. Obviously, as a county, you don't just, if somebody else raises your wages, you raise your wages. We can't do that. However, we have been behind in county attorney wages for a significant amount of time. We had to make a change in 2018 and review the job, and you can only change so much at once sometimes. we were pretty far behind the scale. When you look at the surrounding county attorney and assistant county attorney salaries, sometimes we are not competitive. And especially in private practice, just to give an idea, we had one attorney leave within the past year who immediately was able to double their salary by walking out the door. That's not uncommon. And we're not the only county. Every county in Minnesota is going to face this right now, more than likely, because of the state of Minnesota making the decision to significantly change their wage scale for the public defenders. Now, just remembering that the public defenders and assistant county attorneys work in the same courtroom. So they're doing the same type of work, and someone like one of our assistant county attorneys, we went through all of their wages. Some could leave and at their wage scale that they're at and what they would be eligible for as a public defender, same qualifications, they could make $40,000 just leaving tomorrow. As a county, we obviously have a statutory obligations and a responsibility to provide legal support in many, many different areas, and we have to be responsive to this situation. We prefer not to be reactive with wages, and we've tried really hard not to be. We've made changes with our attorney's office throughout the years. We've made changes when our wage scale is updated, so this is a needed change that I had to make a recommendation for with several teams. And I'm very sorry that our county attorney can't be here today, but we did go over the information with him for them as well.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. I went through budgets and some other talks or meetings we've had. I mean, the disparities are from, and when I say disparities, where they could leave are, you know, in that $35,000 to $40,000 range. As Sheila said, and I'm pretty proud and I'm worried, I'm most concerned with what we do here in McLeod County. And I think that it's more than just retaining, or it's just more than the wages for the county attorney. It's retaining his staff, and he's done a good job at getting there. And I mean, I'm just, I want to hold on to our direction that we're going. And again, I'm concerned more about McLeod County. You can compare it to the metro areas. I guess they have to do their own work, but I see the work that's going on there and the work that we have to do. And I just think it's, I don't want to call it a necessary evil, but to stay where we need to be, that's the wage we kind of came up with, and I think it'll suffice for 24, I'm sorry.
Okay, I read off the proposed motion. I'm still waiting for anybody to act on that.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
When we look at compensation or study compensation, does the years of experience enter into, let's say, on how we look at the proposed salary structure?
I think the motion in the statute declares, you know, we are asked to take into account the experience, qualification, and performance. So does years have something to do with that of experience? You know, I would assume that it is embedded within that. Somewhat difficult on an elected position, I suppose. You know, as budget committee looked at this, I mean, the biggest kicker that caused us to act so quickly was where the state definitely put such a significant increase that it's leaving rural counties scrambling, and all counties scrambling in order to keep up. And it's very frustrating. We felt we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place on this one, and you know, generally looking back, we'd like to maybe find a different, instead of doing one jump, you know, slow it down. However, I think we can blame some action to a higher level of government that as all counties need to react to what they did, we have to do this in order to just stay keep our staff where it is. We do have a lean staff as compared to other county, and they're effective because of their years of experience and leadership that they have. So those are some of the other factors involved.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Is it fair to compare, shall we say, population of some of the counties that we're, I don't want to say, that we're comparing to? And can that enter in some type of data to come up with a equitable rate?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
my recommendation that I made, those are all items taken into consideration. Those factors are taken into consideration with our Keystone study. County Attorney Hand, at the experience and years of job service that he's at, let's just say he decided to take one of the positions with the Public Defender's Office that's a chief managing role or higher, he would leave for more than what I'm recommending instantly, over 200,000 per year. I took all those into consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Cutting through the chase and talking like a regular guy, or what I would normally talk as, my thought process in this was sure, we can streamline this, or in words, cut these stuffs back, but I think Ryan being a new county attorney for McLeod County and setting up his staff, there's more, I at least have taken into account the whole department. And my thought, I'm speaking for myself, my thought process is, okay, we can look at it super conservative way and see the department get split up. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, and I've looked at them for a few days. I mean, most of these experienced attorneys could leave, not just Ryan for 200,000, but most of them could leave and we're sitting in a situation so close to the metro, they can move without even moving themselves. So again, looking out for the McLeod County, I think it's best to let Ryan do what he was elected to do and set up his department and with the staff that he needs, rather than see it piecemealed out and it'll cost us twice as much money to put it back together. So that, out of the trying to talk so nice, that's how I came up with my decision, and with that, I'll make the motion to, I don't have the number in front of me, but 195000 for statute 388.18.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, setting the McLeod County Attorney salary at $195,000. Any further discussion?
Question,
Yes.
what happens with the other 2 or 3 attorneys underneath them? Do we have the budget for enough for all this?
Mr. Chair, that's the next item on the agenda.
Yep, that'll be item H. We'll be addressing that as well, and we'll be investing in experience on that one too.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Luthans, that's what I was commenting on. I've looked at this as the whole department. It's kind of hard. I feel bad in trying to single things out, but I've looked at it as a whole department. Again, you'll see it as we move along.
The 195 is just going to our elected person,
Yes. Yep.
so there's more to come after.
Yes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Nagel is aye, Wright is aye, Kruger.
Aye.
Schmalz?
No.
Luthans?
Aye.
Motion will pass on a 4-1. Thank you for that. Move on to item H, administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item G, sorry, I'm gonna back up. Consideration of Assistant County Attorney position description and wage grade change recommendations. Each of the commissioners, I handed out to them a job description for 3 jobs. Right now, we have 1 for our Assistant County Attorney position. It's just called Assistant County Attorney. The jobs that I handed out are labeled Assistant County Attorney 1, Assistant County Attorney 2, and Senior Assistant County Attorney. I apologize that you do not have this in front of you. It is a timing issue. However, it will be complete and it will be added to the packet. All of the information, however, is on our website. Does everyone have what they need to look at while I go through this, Mr. Chair?
Yes, I believe so.
Thank you. The summary is that we currently have the one position and we have 4 individuals in that position. Due to significant changes by the state of Minnesota for public defenders and their wage categories, assistant county attorneys are leaving county attorney offices throughout the state at an alarming rate, and there are many openings in the public defender's office. Some, like I said, getting up to $40,000 annual increases just by switching offices. This is not the only reason to do this. It is also looking at market value. We do have a wage grade structure and did an evaluation of these positions, which is what took the time this week. I apologize, and have graded them. Our evaluation committee did a good job of being thoughtful and going through everything. However, we did not all come into an agreement. And I did have to make some recommendations outside of what the committee recommended, and I brought those to the budget committee and the county board. That isn't common. I would say that since I've been here in 2017, the county board has always gotten a unanimous decision and recommendation from our personnel committee, or our evaluation committee. Those recommendations had to go to the evaluation committee, the personnel committee individuals, discuss them with them, and now I'm bringing them to you, the county board. I'm asking for the Assistant County Attorney 1 to be graded at 240. For the Assistant County Attorney 2 to be graded at 250. And for the Senior Assistant County Attorney to be graded at 260. Wage grades for other positions at those rates. In the grade 240, we have none. In the grade 250, we have our Health and Human Service Director, Barrett Spores, who I had a discussion with about this, and also our County Engineer and Public Works Director, Andrew Engel, who I also had a discussion with about this. The only person in the wage grade, 260 is myself as County Administrator. This change is not within our 2024 budget that you've seen recommended. We cannot increase the levy at this point and are not recommending that. We would ask that you use fund balance for this. Year to date, our projected end of the year balance of the budgeted dollars for wages is 1.6 million, which brings us up more than 6% under. And the total cost, if I'm projecting this correctly, would be approximately $175,000. So we would use existing fund balance to supply towards this change. So again, summary, Assistant County Attorney 1, wage grade 240. Assistant County Attorney 2, wage grade 250. Senior Assistant County Attorney, wage grade 260. Thank you. They're all in one.
All in one. I believe the question is, are we going to just approve this as one package to make all shifts at the same time? Okay.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chair, I move the recommendation of the County Attorney 1 at a 240, County Attorney 2 at, Assistant County Attorney 2 at a 250, and Senior Assistant County Attorney 3 at a 2. I screwed this. Let me back up one more time. Assistant County Attorney 1, 240, Assistant County Attorney 2, 250, Senior Assistant County Attorney 260. Let me do it again.
I think you got it.
You got it.
Okay, we do have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger, to approve the considerations of the Assistant County Attorney position description and wage grade recommendations. So it was 240, 250, and 260 as noted. Is there any further discussion?
I don't hear any other, but Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a comment as well.
Yep.
Without repeating myself too much, I think these are needed changes, and I think they're obviously costly to us, but we've scrutinized the budget, and already the preliminary levy has been set, and within that number and with some reserves, I think we can, or I'm confident that we can get through this. All right, that doesn't mean that if there's gonna be some questions about how much we spend, well, and there will be, and then we'll have to find areas to cut. But I think we've done our due diligence in summarizing what we're doing here for the good of McLeod County. And again, if people wanna really be outraged, which they probably should be, and will be, take it to the state. Make sure you pay attention to who's got the state office, and this is being handed. We didn't come up with these, just like a lot of other things we don't do. We didn't come up with this, but we have to deal with it. And I think we're doing it very well. I mean, there's a lot of conversation between us all, but repeating again, I think it's the best for us to keep these departments whole.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on.
Thank you. Item H, consider approving the stipend for administrative employee in our Health and Human Services Department while they're covering supervisory finance duties through February 2nd, 2023. It is possible that they may have to cover them longer, then we would come back to you, but this would just approve it through then for a $150 per pay period stipend, which is similar to the last stipend in Health and Human Services for similar workload coverage. They're a union employee. This is a requirement of many of our union contracts. Thank you.
Questions, anyone?
Mr. Chair, I'll move request.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Schmal, second by Luthens, to approve a stipend for an administrative employee in Health and Human Services through February 2nd. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item I, notification of Rinky Noonan, 2024 hourly rates. Just noting that we already have an active contract with Rinky Noonan. They provide legal services, and this is just an updated note. We knew in the contract that the rates would change annually. In a letter, or at least annually, I should say. In a letter to our McLeod County Board of Commissioners, Rinky Noonan Law Firm announced the following rates for 2024. Senior attorneys with 7+ years of experience, $415 per hour. Associate attorneys with 4 to 7 years of experience, $330 per hour. Associate attorneys with 0 to 3 years of experience, $290 per hour. Paralegals and legal technicians, $145 to $255 per hour. Rinky Noonan provides our legal counsel to the McLeod County Drainage Authority in its capacity as the Public Drainage Authority. Item J, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, December 19, 2023, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Okay, that gets us to the end of our agenda for this evening. Is there any open forum or press relations that would like to approach the board? Open forum or press relations
I have
questions?
something, Mr. Chair.
Good.
It's just something that I forgot as we went along here. First of all, I'd like people to reflect on Ricky Noonan's new law, her new attorney firm rates. That kind of shows what our conundrum is with our own. But what I really wanted to get to, I want to thank Connie. She's not here right now, but she sent out an email this week when we did some discussions with our personnel about election workers. We had a conversation, and I made a statement at the last meeting about how to get workers. I really appreciate that she sent out an email to all the townships, all the cities, for a request for anybody that was interested in these positions. So I hope it gets to the right people for their consideration. And again, I want to thank Connie for doing that.
Okay, last call for anyone else to approach the board. We'll then be looking for a motion to recess.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? I can second that. Motion by Schmal, second by Wright, to approve recess our meeting, and our next board meeting will be 9 a.m. on Tuesday, December 19th, in McLeod County Government Center. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll be meeting again in about 5 minutes, I believe it is, to start our truth and taxation meeting.
Yep, 5 minutes.